Okay, hello, Miss Jazmine. Obviously, I know who you are, and I'm so excited to welcome you to the Creator Confessionals booth, where we spill the tea on all things creator economy. Tell the people, for those that don't know who you are, who you are.
Who am I? Okay, so I'm Jazmine Griffith. I'm a social listening analyst at PepsiCo, but I own my own studio at the moment. It's called Que Lo Que is a social listening studio, and I'm just a lifestyle creator, which I talk about being a woman in her 30s. So,
okay, period. So, okay, I know you work on the brand side. Yeah. Obviously, you have your own agency.
Yeah.
And then you also are an influencer and creator.
Yeah.
What does that world look like for you, this overlap?
It looks like no sleep. No, it's interesting because I always feel like I'm able to offer insight and advice from the brand side, agency side, lifestyle side. That I feel like a lot of people can't do. For my own studio, like for my own agency, I'm able to get the perspective of what's going on the brand side, but then I'm also giving the perspective of, like, as a creator, what do I see in my comments? What am I seeing in the digital landscape? Like LinkedIn, it's a platform that brands are not tapping into, but as a creator, I can tell other brands like, there's conversation happening here. There are brands that are actually activating beyond just B2B. Like a mattress company reached out to me the other day for LinkedIn. I'm like, what's going on here? Like, this is something new, right?
Yeah.
So it's good to offer an expertise from all those different type of areas of life. While not getting any sleep.
Yeah. I mean, and the thing that I'm really interested in about your work is that you specialize in social listening. Yeah. Which is not something I feel a lot of brands prioritize. No. They definitely should. Social listening and social intelligence for the marketers that aren't familiar with the social media space. What does that work look like?
Social listening is exactly what it is. It's listening to social. It's what are the conversations that people are having about your brand, good and bad. What does the share voice look like? Meaning, like, how are your competitors stacking up against you when it comes to conversation? So, like, if you see that your competitor is owning 80% of the conversation every single month, probably something you need to look into. Right. But it's just also looking at the social media space, right? Like, what are trends that are happening, like from a micro type of way? So, like, very demure, very cutesy, but then also trends that are happening, like, from a much larger scale. Like, people want to go sleep when they go to hotels now, and that's something that hotels are investing into.
Yeah.
So social listening is taking all of that and then finding an insight and feeding that into a larger creative. Like, people always talk about the CeraVe commercial.
Yeah.
The CeraVe commercial happened, or the Super Bowl happened, because they literally spent hours and hours and hours on Reddit looking for that one insight that they thought that Michael Cera owned CeraVe, right?
Yeah.
And they were like, we're going to run with that insight.
Yeah.
So that's what I do. I try to find, like, that insight to really, like, help the creative team or your brand, like, stand out in a very, very unique way that people can, like, connect in a very emotional way.
Yeah, and that's where I find the work value, because as a strategist, to me, when I'm mapping out a game plan that's rooted in a goal, it starts with the data behind the scenes. It starts with the why. It starts with what consumers are talking about. And I feel like when we look at social media holistically as a profession, it's so interesting because obviously we all can have these, like, very specialized roles in the industry.
Yeah.
But obviously there's also those brands that just think like social is like a one-fits-all.
It's a one-step shop, and it's not.
One-step shop, and it's really not.
Yeah, it's evolved. It used to be like, when I worked in social, it was like community manager. Or I was like a social media manager. I write copy, I create content, and that's it. But now it's like social intelligence, social listening, content creation, creative director, social strategist, community manager. Like, it goes on and on and on. So it's definitely evolved than what it used to be.
Yeah, 100%. So as we're obviously here for the creator economy live in Las Vegas. So how do you feel like social listening is something that can be applied inside the creator economy as it relates to influencers and creators?
We're talking about this in my panel, but I was telling that if you're an influencer agency and you have creatives or creators on your roster, exclusive, instead of having strategy calls with them, you need to be asking your creators, what does your community say in the comments?
That's excellent. Wait, say that again.
Okay. If you are an influencer agency, I'm going to say this on my panel again, so if you see it, I'm sorry. If you are an influencer agency and you have exclusive talent, like, you shouldn't be having a strategy call about what platforms are working. No, you need to be asking your creators, what is your community saying in your DMs, in your broadcast channels, in your Substacks, because those are places that brands don't listen. And if they're talking about different brands, or if there's an insight out of there, then that means that you can use that insight to pitch brands for your creative. And that's how you use that. And I think a lot of brands haven't tapped into that yet, but brands should really be tapping into creators, especially creators that they even work with on a long-term partnership. Like, what are people saying in your communities? Like, all these creators have Twitch, Discord, YouTube, like, broadcast channel. Those are places that a lot of these tools, unfortunately, can't listen for. So you have to ask them directly to get those nuggets and those insights.
Yeah. And it's interesting too, because I feel like for creators and influencers, I think for a lot of them, the work stops at the content is published.
Yep, and that's
but
true.
Beyond that, you have to go into your comments. You have to look at the data. Like you literally have to be your own social media team effectively and make sure that you're communicating to brands your value.
Yeah.
It's interesting because I feel like there's like two sides of the coin in the conversation where it's like some creators kind of have this thought that the creative work that I put out there is the value.
Yep.
The content I create is the value. And then the other side is like, no, the value is what my community says, what my community thinks, what they believe in.
Yeah.
And that's why I think brands are kind of shifting more towards like, you can't just be like, here's my video.
No. And even as a creator, like you can pitch brands based off of like your own kind of content. Like if I try a shampoo conditioner and somebody says, oh, well, how about Shea Moisture? Have you tried that one?
Yeah.
That's okay. Well, let me go try it. And now I can go pitch Shea Moisture.
Exactly.
So it's like continuing to engage with me past just the video. Like, because with you, I love your content on LinkedIn because like, you don't just post a video. If you go to your comments, like I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you typing. And I'm like, I know this girl, Yeah. But that's like the beat. That's the added value of not just posting your content. It's like feeling like I'm your friend. I'm your homegirl. Yeah. Like there's plenty of people that be like, I know Jay. Mm-hmm. Just from LinkedIn, but I know Jay. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. So let's tap into that because you mentioned one of my favorite L words.
Yeah.
LinkedIn.
The app.
So obviously we are LinkedIn.
Yes.
But for people who don't really understand the power of LinkedIn, what is something that you feel like they should know?
Oh my God, I wish I could grab this mic. Let me say something. I love LinkedIn. It's changing my life.
We love LinkedIn.
No, but LinkedIn is such a amazing channel to build your personal brand. Mm-hmm. I was talking to AJ last night.
Yeah.
And he said, Jazmine.
AJ from Creator Match. Shout out to him.
Hey. He said, Jazmine, when I think of social listening, I think of you.
Yeah.
I've only been able to do that because of LinkedIn.
Yeah.
I'm a lifestyle creator on TikTok and on Instagram. I'm not talking about beauty and being in your 30s and stuff, but I can never post the type of content that I post on LinkedIn because it just doesn't resonate there. That audience isn't there, but I can on LinkedIn. Now, LinkedIn allows you, even if you post once or twice a week, you can build your personal brand. If you're selling a product, if you're just trying to do something, you can honestly have conversations with people that you would have never been able to tap before.
Yeah.
And I feel like LinkedIn now is less corporate. I can say what I want to say.
Agreed.
What I've been wanting to say in these meetings that I couldn't say before. You know,
literally.
And really just show up as your authentic self.
Agreed.
I know people find it cringy because it's still corporate, but like if you have a product, if you are a product, which is a creator, you should be on LinkedIn at least once or twice a week.
Agreed. And it's something that's interesting because I do want to shift the narrative about like what LinkedIn is as a platform. I think especially as millennials and Gen Z are kind of navigating over, the landscape is shifting. Yeah. And work culture is shifting.
Yeah,
like,
100%.
We're not afraid to just like be. And I think LinkedIn is a great space to kind of show your value as a professional and showcase what you know. Yeah. That doesn't mean you necessarily have to be a shell of yourself to hide your personality.
Yeah, you don't have to act a fool on LinkedIn.
Yeah,
it's still corporate.
Yeah,
you still got to keep it cute. But you can still yourself if you want to build, like I have done, build a different persona on this platform. You can, like, I'm a corporate girly.
Exactly.
On Instagram and TikTok, you wouldn't know that. But I am on LinkedIn. So
yeah, agreed. And I feel like I'm the same way. Like, a lot of the work that I do, I love to talk about on my LinkedIn. I talk about it on my Instagram and TikTok, but in a very different way. In a very different way. Yeah. And I think there's something that's really beautiful about building a community in an industry of people that work very similarly to you and that you can learn from.
Yeah. There is a, like, somebody coined the other day, like, Black LinkedIn influencers. Like, Black Twitter, Black LinkedIn. Like,
absolutely.
There's a community that just kind of you built on its own, you know, and now everybody, like, they know, like, I'm in New York, I'm in Atlanta, I need to look up with Jade, or how do I get invited to a Jade event? You know, like, anytime you post like a creator meetup and you kind of built that, and that's something unique that you just don't have on any other platform.
Yeah. And that's the funny thing, because I've really admired how much you have, like, grown on Instagram. Instagram has always been my trouble platform. Like, I don't know nothing about that.
It's like hit or miss.
It's very hit or miss. But I do love your content because I can see how committed you are to curating, like, an experience where people can, like, connect with you through your series. Like, I love when you're, like, talking about how you're, like, in your 30s and you're, like, really trying to, like, you know, curate this wardrobe, which looks excellent, by the way. Like, I love your style content. Like, I think it's really stunning. And I think the thing about Instagram where I feel like I haven't been as successful is because I won't do what Instagram wants me to do.
It's gotta be but, you know, content, I think being a creator now, just create the content that you want to do. Like, forget the likes, forget the engagement. That small community of 150 or 200 people, regardless of how many followers you have, that are going to connect with you, that's who you're going to follow through. And that's it. And as long as one person sees your content, like, I needed to see that, I think you've had your mission for the day.
Agreed. So I want to switch gears a little bit and play a little bit of a game. Okay. It's called, and you're gonna recognize it.
Okay.
So it's brand safe.
Okay.
Date, marry, divorce.
Okay.
And the 3 options are creators,
Okay.
communities, content. Who are you dating? Who are you marrying? Who are you divorcing?
I'm going to marry community.
Okay. Talk to me about why.
You know, I started doing content over like breakup content. Like I went through a bad breakup like 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And I built a big community of women, and women would DM me and be like, "You do not know how much you saved my life."
Wow. That's
beautiful. And people don't understand like how much impact a community can have. A community can change your life.
Yeah.
I mean, like
100%.
pay your bills.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like as long as you're authentic and real. And so that's why I would marry.
Yeah.
Dates. I would date content.
Okay.
I've evolved with content. I used to love creating content, then I hated creating content because I feel like I was creating content that I thought brands wanted me to post because I was just trying to get some money.
Yeah.
And now I'm back to real. Now I'm back to a point of I'm just gonna create and have a nice day.
Yeah.
And I'll probably divorce creators. But the word is so cringy now.
Yeah.
Everyone's a creator.
So
which nothing's wrong with that. Get your bag, get your pepper. But I think there's so many different tiers of creators. You have creators that create because they love to create. You have creators that I'm just trying to get to the money. I'm trying to have creators that engage in bait. Like it's so. I wish it was a much more like cohesive industry versus so much fluctuation.
Yeah, I mean, and it does have a long way to go. Like the creator economy is like has just
it's just
so. Well, I mean, social media as an industry, still evolving.
It's still evolving.
Still evolving. It's still a long way to go.
Yeah,
but it's interesting too because when I think about community, like I think a lot of people would automatically put creators in there, and I feel like I kind of alluded to this. I feel like it's also okay to be a creator that's actually not interested in any of like the brand aspect of it. Like it's literally no different from a copywriter or a graphic designer. Like you are paying me for a service. I don't have to like your brand. I don't have to be interested in your product or service. No. And I think it's like another aspect of like a marketing skill set that I get to tap into even in my work. Because, you know, I work as a creator, obviously through my personal brand, but I also work as a creator where I'll team up with brands literally just to create content for them. I don't need to know about your product. I don't care. It ain't got nothing to do with me.
I don't care.
It ain't got nothing to do with me.
For some people, content is like a hobby.
Yes.
I create to, you know, let off steam or I'm angry or I have something to say. A lot of people that are creators, you know, their friends and family don't even follow them. They create it and they're like an alter ego too. Okay.
So final question. What has been one of your biggest icks between brand and creator partnerships?
Not paying me on time.
Okay.
I do not want to send a follow-up email 4 or 5 times to ask you where my money is when you've asked me 4 or 5 times for revision.
Period.
So that's my biggest ick. I see it on LinkedIn a lot more and more where agencies are like, well, I can't pay the creator on time because the brand hasn't paid me on time. I think brands, you need to hold yourself accountable. These are big brands with big budgets. Why are you a Fortune 500 company and I'm waiting net 60, net 90 to get paid? So I think that's my biggest ick.
At this big age.
It's a job for us. Are you waiting for your paycheck, your check that you get paid every single, 15 days, 30 days. No, if you don't get paid, you're going to be messaging HR like, hey, I didn't get paid this week. Literally. So I just feel like I wish there was a little bit more respect on like creators and paying us on time. Because we have livelihoods.
Yes.
You know? So,
100% agree. I think it honestly kind of taps into the overall view of like creative work and may not be taken as seriously, which is so unfortunate because our entire society moves around creativity, which is so crazy. It's very backwards. It's like creativity and education. It's like we need it, but we don't care that much. But I will say, I think, you know, there are companies that are kind of popping up now to kind of make those processes a lot more seamless.
For sure.
And my hope is eventually we'll get to a place where we actually can abolish net 30.
Yes. Can we just
15 days or faster?
When it goes live.
Same day.
You know, it's just, you have the funds.
Exactly.
Go ahead and give it to us.
Deposit them.
Deposit.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Jazmine, for stopping by the booth. It's always a pleasure to yap with you. And I appreciate you coming by.
Bye.